It's not working, so I know that I've got it turned
His mouth
off.
is piranhas. Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Oh my
I did.
I got
He does a perfect
I think
impression.
those controls are not working
You
properly.
know what it was? What I
Somebody
really
turned it on, they tried to turn it back off, and it's still getting weird. I was like, this is not
We've
right.
got a little skit we can put on. I have no acting
And
talent.
you'd have to know my son to know how funny it
So the
was.
free
He's
press.
pretty staid, pretty laid back. Give him a few
Okay,
times,
we
wind him up and let him go.
are going to start the meeting. Welcome, everyone. This is the Grand Traverse. Welcome, everyone. We will start the meeting. Forgot to knock on the window. This is the Grand Traverse County Resource Management Administration Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, August 13th, it's 6 p.m. And we will call this meeting to order. We will start with the opening ceremonies of the pledge. Dr. Dan Lathrop, if you could lead us in that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, would the clerk call the roll, call attendance, please?
Wheelock. Thomas.
Yep.
Rennie. Maxbauer.
Yes.
Lemkool.
Yep.
Lathrop.
Yes.
Inman.
Here. Okay. Commissioner Wheelock comes in, we'll note his time if he arrives. Item number 3, approval of the minutes for the July 9th regular session of the RMA committee. Need to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Rennie, seconded by Commissioner Lathrop to approve the minutes of July 9th, 2014. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Very good. We now move on to the first public comment, and if the clerk could read the rules on guidelines on public comment.
Any person shall be permitted to address a meeting of the Board of Commissioners which is required to be open to the public under the provision of the Michigan Open Meetings Act. Public comment shall be carried out in accordance with the following board rules and procedures. Any person wishing to address the board shall state his or her name and address. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same matter, excluding time needed to answer commissioners' questions, if any. The chairperson shall control the amount of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes. The chairperson may, at his or her discretion, extend the amount of time any person is allowed to speak. Public comment will be solicited during the 2 public comment periods noted in Rule 5.4, Order of Business. However, public comment will generally be received at any time during the meeting regarding a specific topic currently under discussion by the board. Members of the public wishing to comment should raise their hand or pass a note to the clerk in order to be recognized and shall not address the board until called upon by the chairperson.
Okay, those are the guidelines for public comment, and as she's indicated, if you have a particular item you wish to speak later on, that is an agenda item, just get my attention, or the clerk's attention, and we'll make sure that you're set on that. I know the sheriff has already asked to speak on item 9A2, so we will note that. So does any member wish to make a public comment that is in attendance? Seeing no indication, we will close public comment, and we will move on to the approval of the agenda. We have a couple items on your desk. One is the Administrator's Controller Report that doesn't need to be on the agenda. We next have the Great Lakes Fishery Trust Agreement, so I believe, Dave, that we need to, oh, by the way, you guys are switched, your name tags are switched, so there you go. I almost called you Dean.
I did not do that.
I'm going to trust you that that's the way it is.
I almost called you Dean, Dave. So, Dave, we have that add-on, is that correct?
Yes, the
So
Great
we'll put
Lakes
that under
Fisheries
new
Trust
business
Agreement.
A.
New business A.
All right, and then we have the ad hoc committee. We have an opening on the Veterans Affairs Board. If we can put that as new business B, we can set up an ad hoc committee. And we have the commercial lease agreement that's proposed for the pavilions, and that is already an agenda item under unfinished business A. So that we'll just have an understanding that this lease agreement is under that section, if you don't mind. Okay, does anyone else have any other items they wish to add to the agenda? Seeing none, let the records indicate that Commissioner Wheelock is in attendance, and we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Moved by Commissioner Rennie, seconded by Commissioner Thomas, to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. Moving on to the consent calendar, if the clerk can read the consent calendar, please.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted, receive and file, or approval, is approved by a single committee action adopting the consent calendar. A, receive and file. Number 1, Conservation District Monthly Parkland Report. Number 2, Resource Recovery Manager's Report. Number 3, Road Commission Resolution 2014, July 2nd, Permanent Road Funding Solution. Number 4, TC Talus Long Range Transportation Plan. B, approval. Number 1, Resource Recovery Materials Recycling Facility Designation Agreement.
Okay, you've heard the reading of the consent calendar. Does any member of the public wish to pull an item from the consent calendar for further discussion? Seeing no indication from the public, we will now move to the Board of Commissioners. Does any commissioner wish to approve or pull an item from the consent calendar?
B1.
B1, Lemkool. Anyone else? Okay, we need a motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of B1. Moved by Commissioner Rennie, seconded by Commissioner Maxbauer. Okay, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Thomas?
Yep.
Rennie? Yes. Max Bauer?
Yes.
Lemkool?
Yep.
Lathrop?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Inman.
Yes. All right. We will now move on to item 7. There is no special orders of business, so we will now move on to item 8, which are items that are removed from the consent calendar. Then we will move to item 6B, item 1. And Commissioner Lemkool, you pulled that off. You have the floor.
Yeah, my question is what kind of process they went through to get this approved? You know, I think Sonny probably knows more about it than anybody else, and I just don't know enough about it. I think we had to go through quite a process before when we did the American Waste, and I don't know if we've gone through the same process for this one.
This is the designated facilities agreement. It's just an application, and they just, any designated facility can be approved. The problem that we had with the American Waste facility was there were a number of issues that the state had about that, and there was some objections from some of the properties, and we dealt with, trying to change our ordinance because there was a part in our siting criteria that required that it be so far from schools, and there was an issue about 680 feet from the school if you went over the river and through the woods and through the swamp to the school, and that was one of the issues we had with the siting criteria of the American Waste facility. But this was a straight application.
So they're near a food distribution center, and that's why I was wondering if that has any criteria for what's happening.
Not that I'm aware of. Resource Recovery Council was supposed to meet last week, and I was unable to attend. And being as how I have an amended agenda sitting on my table that came yesterday saying we have a meeting tomorrow night, I'm guessing they didn't have a quorum. So I'm hoping that we will get more information about that tomorrow night.
Okay.
So,
Any other further questions?
We're just approving.
We just approved the designation of the facility.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions on that item? All right, we need a motion to approve that item as presented.
Reluctantly, I don't know enough about it to really be able to say. I wish when we had this.
You can pull it at the end of the month.
Okay, let's do that. I'll make a move and I'm asking for more information.
Well, Resource Recovery Council will meet tomorrow night,
Okay.
and I can bring you more information.
That'd be great.
Okay.
In regard to
Motion by
that.
Lemkool, seconded by Rennie, to approve the Resource Recovery Material Recycling Facility Designation Agreement as indicated in consent calendar item B1. Any discussion? Hearing none, we need a roll call on this, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because it's on consent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rennie? Max Bauer?
Yes.
Lemkool?
Yep.
Lathrop,
Yeah.
Wheelock,
Yes, ma'am.
Thomas.
Yep.
Inman.
All right, yes. All set. All right. We now move on to department action items. Road Commission. We have the monthly report. Welcome. You state your name for us and for the record.
Jim Johnson with Grand Traverse County Road Commission.
That's page 27.
I would be more than happy to run through the whole document, or if there are specific questions, I would, either way, however you'd like me to go.
Well, it's for the last several months, we've been pulling it off because there's been some discussion about road conditions and where you're at with maintenance and stuff, so we kind of thought maybe we'll just leave it as a department report item, but,
Okay.
so, Charlie, you have any questions? Anyone?
Yeah, I
Commissioner
had a
Michael?
question from a constituent wanting to know, when you finish Hoke Road, what are you going to do with Hoke and Keystone Road? Are you going to put a light in there? Are you going to do something different? Because you're probably going to have an increase in traffic there.
There's no plans for a light. We are intending on leaving the weight restrictions up for the road, and obviously we'll continually monitor it, and if need be, we can always do additional traffic counts as well.
Then also, they were wondering about, what you're going to do about the traffic coming out of River Road onto Keystone. That seems to be a real challenge getting there, to try and get off of River Road onto Keystone, especially if you want to go to the west. So,
Okay. Well, I'll definitely take a look at that as well.
okay.
Anything else on the report?
Yeah, go ahead.
Commissioner Lathrop?
Yeah, are you where you hoped you'd be so far? And you had a plan about how to repair roads, and how would you grade yourself? Are you where you hoped you'd be?
I think we are. I think we're doing extremely well. The projects, obviously we had some weather delays this year. I think we're really moving forward strongly. With the exception of Zimmerman Road, we should be, we're just finishing up Hoke, and we're already working on the rest of Supply Road. We're starting to facilitate final walkthroughs and final punch lists. I'm very excited about where we're at this point.
How about the budget? Are you being able to fix these things with the amount of money that you expected you could, or is it costing more?
I think each project is different. Some of the projects we've come under, some of the projects we went over. Staff has spent a lot of time, and as we're moving through, we track each project independently, and we're making adjustments as we go, because obviously the intent is, when we're all said and done, to stay at that magic number that we thought we would be at. But I think we're doing very well budget-wise.
Good. Glad to hear that.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Rennie and then Commissioner Lemko.
Cost-sharing policies and procedures. The board adopted a cost-share budget policy and procedure which states the board will, et cetera. What is the policy?
Previous, it was 50%, but
Yeah, it's
Whatever the new numbers are.
Unfortunately, I apologize, I don't have the form with me, but it's a policy that we identified based on the fix type. I know for new construction, our match policy is 25%. In many cases, the townships will pick up 25% and the residents will do 50%. We do have a separate cost-sharing policy for chip seals, more of a preventative maintenance, and I believe that's at 40-60% as it is right now.
So can we pick that up on your website or something, that policy?
Yeah, I believe it is on our website. We can definitely pass that on
I'll check it out.
as well.
okay. Commissioner Lemko.
Yeah, you mentioned Zimmerman Road. I'm really concerned about not doing that until after school starts. That's a major road going into the high school. And I was really hoping to be get it done before, but I understand you have some sewer problems that Garfield is going to be putting in?
Well, the original intent obviously was to complete the entire road before school. That was the main objective, purely because of the corridor where it's located between the schools and such. We were recently approached by Garfield Township in that they would like to extend their water main. There's about a 5,000-foot extension from the first corner on Zimmerman to North Long Lake Road, about a mile length there. It's a 16-inch transmission line that will eventually be directionally drilled up underneath North Long Lake Road and then continue down the extension of Zimmerman that's currently being proposed by Brookside Development, and then also head westerly to where the proposed storage tank facility is staged. We've been working excuse me, very closely with the township in consideration, and based on the location of the water main, we obviously were in fear that if we did the road and then they came back later and did the water main, that we would jeopardize what we just did for the road. It's not a perfect scenario. I completely agree. I'm a little nervous about doing it after the fact just because of the traffic, but I think it's probably the best direction to go, just to protect the road system, make sure what we do stays intact. So
How long do you think that's going to take?
they're working through the permitting. It's my understanding they should have the permits by next week, which they would start immediately. So I'm hoping by the 18th or so we'll be moving ahead with the water main. Obviously, it's all dependent on when they receive their permit from the DEQ. We're hoping, it appears based on the length, you know, and the size and the fixtures and everything that's required, it's going to take probably 3+ weeks to complete the water main. There is opportunity to work on the road system at stages when they're doing the water main. So it's not a, we have to fully wait, then we can start the road. So we're hoping we can gain some time there. But I'm really hopeful that we would start no later than September 15th.
Okay, have you communicated with the school?
I believe the township has some communications with the school.
You may want to make a
we'll
communication with the schools.
We'll definitely do that,
Okay.
absolutely.
Commissioner Wheelock.
Well, I don't want to beat Zimmerman Road to death, but I do hear a lot of complaints about, traffic on Zimmerman Road and the condition, particularly through the S-curve, which we all know about. And I heard something on the radio the other day that you were going to chip seal that road.
No, it's going to be
There was comments about chip sealing, and I said that road needs a lot more than chip seal.
No, there's
Is this a crush and shape?
Yeah, it's a crush and shape with proposed undercuts in that section that's really bad at that last S curve. We're going to remove, that's all clay under there, that's what's coming up. We're going to remove that fully. We've got some drainage, some ditching we're going to do, some little bit of tree removals, try to get the shade off the road to preserve it. But it's going to be crushed and shaped, and we're going to put 5-foot shoulders on it. So.
Commissioner Maxbauer, do you have something?
Yes, I just wanted to let Commissioner Lemkool know that last night at Garfield, Gordy Frazier got up and thanked the Road Commission as well as Elmer's for working with them, because there was a real fear that they would put down a new road and then have to rip it up and put it down again. But the Road Commission and Elmer's and Gordy Frazier got together, and they're working in concert. I just wanted you to know.
Okay, anyone else? All right, so we got the report completed. We now move on to item 2, which is the cost-sharing partnership funding for Lafreniere Road. That's on page 29 in our packet. Dave, do you want to address that for us?
Well, this is, you had talked about that we would be in a cooperative venture with the Road Commission to share the cost of the project at Lafreniere Road. And you asked us to come up with an amount or a source of funding for that, and Dean has identified funds in Delinquent Tax Revolving Fund. He's consulted with the treasurer on whether there's enough to do that and purchase all the delinquent taxes for all the townships and the school districts and all the other taxing jurisdictions. So apparently that can be done. We won't have to go out for loans to get that, and we can still use this money for this project.
Okay, so does item 3, the cost-sharing resolution, is that what you wish us to approve at this time?
That's correct.
Okay.
The source of funding we've identified, and
Identified.
I suppose we should identify in the motion that you make that it's coming from delinquent tax revolving
So as a part of
funds.
the resolution,
And
if
you can
we
use-
pass this agreement
Correct.
on Lafreniere Road, we would just indicate where that funding would come from. Okay,
And Corporation Council has looked at it.
all right. Commissioner Lathrop.
So we actually own this money, and we can write a check and make it happen?
It's our money, yeah.
Okay, and that fund replenishes itself as time goes on?
Eventually, I mean, it's from interest on delinquent taxes. That's
Yeah.
where it generates most of the money.
Okay,
And then, of course, investment of the funds that are in there.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Maxbauer.
I would like to move that Grand Traverse County enter into a cost-sharing agreement as prepared in our packet for the construction of Lafreniere Road.
And the funds would come from?
And the funds would come from the delinquent tax fund.
Okay, so that's your resolution?
That's my motion.
That's your motion, so that's your resolution on on page 30 with
Yes.
the addition of where the funding will come from. So we have a motion on the floor, a second from Commissioner Thomas? Or no? Okay, Commissioner Thomas. Discussion. Commissioner Lemkool.
Is there a way to cap it at the 370?
You could. Right now, the way this agreement is written, it's 1/3 of the actual costs, which was the way that it was presented at the last meeting.
I think we ought to cap it at 370.
I would agree, and
Motion
I would
maker
make,
accept that?
I would make a friendly
Second, agree with
amendment to
that?
that, yes.
All right, okay, so we'll have that as a friendly agreement, so we don't have to vote on it. So we have a motion. Commissioner Wheelock.
Well, I apologize, I wasn't here the day that this issue was discussed, or before. I had almost a coronary when I see how much difference between the road construction and the curb and gutter and sidewalks added to this project. You know, I think, at least in my mind, when we talk about road projects and road funding, I think the general public assumes we're talking about the travel portion of the roadway. And I think we added close to $1 million to this project with curb and gutter and sidewalks, if I remember right. And I understand it's a done deal, that's what we've decided to do, but, I think we need to think about that a little bit as we talk about, all of our road projects, whether they be the voted millage funding or whatever. I think the people supported the road millage with the idea that we were improving the traveled portions of the road. And when we start adding large amounts of dollars because of the improvements for non-motorized traffic, I think some of the public aren't really excited about that.
I'm sorry.
Let's get to commissioner comments, and then we'll have you talk.
Sorry about that.
Commissioner Lathrop.
I'm on the board of Beta Bus, and we're concerned about having cutouts there so the buses can pull over and not stop traffic. Are you planning for that on the Lafreniere Road?
Yeah, we've met with Beta Bus on a couple of occasions. We've identified areas where it would be reasonable to have actual bus stops, and we're accommodating a widened shoulder in those areas.
Cool. All right. Good.
All
Thank
right,
you.
any other further comments or questions on the motion? Commissioner Maxbauer.
Well, first of all, Representative Schmidt is in large part responsible for a large amount of money that we are getting from the state of Michigan for this project. That's number one. Number two, in response to Commissioner Wheelock's comments, I want to point out that a great deal of the traffic on that road comes in large part due to our DPW, or whatever you want to call it, building there. The new
Administration building.
Yeah, administrative building.
And our health department building.
The health department building, we've got County Road at the end with trucks, and because of the public health building, we've got a lot of people, pedestrians, that don't drive that road, and they need that sidewalk. And there is also King's Court up there, and a great many of those people also use the sidewalk and are on foot. That is my district, and I go up there periodically. And I think in this particular instance, what the Road Commission has presented is justified.
Okay. Anyone else? Commissioner Rennie and Commissioner Lundco.
Sonny, we did discuss this, you weren't at that meeting, and the complete street idea had a lot to do with access to the public facilities that are on that road and more that may come. You understand it is a lot of money.
Who was next? Who wanted to talk next?
Yeah.
Lundco?
Yeah. Somebody said that there's a new building going up there next to the road on Lafreniere, and I didn't get up there to see.
I think it's a power company building something in there.
Who?
I think it's a power company.
Substation?
Oh, the power company is
Yeah.
redoing that power station. Okay. So are they going to be required to put in any kind of a sidewalk?
It's my understanding that through their approval process through Garfield, yes.
Cool. I would hope that we could put sidewalks along in front of the health department building too,
All right, just one,
if we could do that
Less than $370,000.
for our money.
okay. Just for our point of clarification from legal counsel, if we can have this motion, the way it's currently out there, was a friendly amendment to have it capped at that dollar amount and that it would go to, it will come from the delinquent tax fund. Counsel suggested that that we need to change the agreement to indicate the capping of that dollar amount. So since this is, this would go to the end of the month, we would have counsel add that language in, and you would have a second look at it, and then we approve it at the end of the month. Is that
That's
kosher?
fine.
All right, okay.
That's fine.
All right, any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none.
Larry?
Jim want to add?
Yes, Jim, I'm sorry. You're exactly right. Sheriff, I'm sorry, my apologies.
And Bob,
Larry,
yes.
who
Yes, you have the-
seconded that?
Sheriff, you have the floor.
Dick Thomas.
Thank you for reminding me. I know I made that announcement earlier.
Well, and I think Jim was going to comment too.
And then you're going to come back and talk. Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. Tom Bensley, Grand Traverse County Sheriff. Please forgive me, my numbers are a little different than what you just decided on, but they're not that far off. Tonight you're considering an agreement with the Grand Traverse County Road Commission and Garfield Township to equally share in the cost for reconstruction of Lafreniere Road and Lafreniere Hill. The estimated cost of this share agreement is $1.2 million, with $400,000 coming from each of the 3 units involved. The other half of the total project, which is a grant from the Michigan Department of Transportation, does not require a local match. I think the skids have been pretty well greased with regards to this project, and so my comments may fall on deaf ears. I'm opposed to Grand Traverse County contributing $400,000 to this project. Make no mistake about it. Lafreniere Road and Lafreniere Hill are in dire need of repair and reconstruction. This condition has existed for many years. But it's not the county's responsibility for funding roads and road repairs. This is the responsibility of the Grand Traverse County Road Commission and the townships in Grand Traverse County. The county administrator, at a joint meeting with this board, the Road Commission Board, and the Garfield Township Board, told you that it is not the county's responsibility for road funding. 6 years ago, the county invested $2 million in a partnership with the Road Commission to fund road improvements in Grand Traverse County. Last fall, the Road Commission approached the county and asked for $2 million to fund road improvements prior to the millage proposal. The answer was no. We don't have the money because we're facing a $1 million budget deficit in the 2014 county general fund budget. The Road Commission millage passed in November of last year will provide for $4.4 million annually for 3 years. Total, over 3 years, $13.2 million. Was this project a part of the planned improvements for the road millage. At the joint meeting a couple months ago, it was pointed out that Grand Traverse County has buildings on Lafreniere Road and therefore is responsible for some of the costs to repair and improve the road. What about the several residential developments and nursing home facilities on Lafreniere Road? Have they been asked to participate in the project, or has a special assessment district been considered to fund the road improvements? The $400,000 for the project is recommended to come from the county's delinquent tax revolving fund as a one-time expenditure. Will this actually be the only one-time expenditure or withdrawal of funds from this fund? How long will it be until there's another request for a one-time expenditure from the delinquent tax revolving fund? When the Village of Fife Lake or the Village of Kingsley or Green Lake Township ask for money for road improvements in a sharing agreement with the county and the Road Commission, what will be the board's answer? And will the county again look at the delinquent tax revolving fund if it's unable to fund the request from the general fund budget? Last fall, the county reduced its fund balance minimum requirement so that it could use $1 million of fund balance to be put into the 2014 budget to cover a funding shortage. This was done with the expectation of reducing the 2014 budget in 2014 by $1 million after a detailed explanation by all departments of their functions, operations, and costs. This was not done. This year, the budget requests are approximately $5.6 million above the estimated revenues. I'm sure our budget will be impacted because of this imbalance. What I'm most concerned about is the Sheriff's Office budget for next year and the future. How will this affect our 2015 budget and beyond? Will we be told by the board that we cannot fully fund our requests in the budget for the Sheriff's Office? Currently, we have a problem hiring and keeping law enforcement officers. Why? Low pay and benefits. Recent offers of employment to individuals have been rejected in favor of higher paying jobs with better benefits offered by the Traverse City Police Department and the Wexford County Sheriff's Office. $400,000 over 2 years would go a long way in the law enforcement budget to replace vehicles and bring that fleet back to needed replacement levels. $400,000 would fund 2 additional school liaison officers or 2 additional officers for the Traverse Narcotic Team for 3 years. Finally, at the joint meeting a couple months ago, Road Commission Chair Mark McCullough indicated that the Road Commission's budget was healthy. He suggested that the Road Commission would be able to loan the county's share of the funding to the county. My question is, if the Road Commission has the money to lend, why don't they have the money to spend for this project? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you wanted to make some further remarks on any questions that the commissioners have brought up to finalize the discussion? Yeah.
I just, excuse me, just wanted to just quickly give an idea of the infrastructure that was being proposed for the project. And I apologize, I don't have the cost breakdown in front of me, but in regards to Commissioner Wheelock's comment on curb and sidewalk, as of right now, the proposed curbing is actually down the hill to control the stormwater. The rest of the road is going to be ditched and as a typical county road would be. I just didn't want anyone to think that the whole road's going to be curbed and we're doing something similar to Woodmere. And then as well as the sidewalk, right now the proposal is to put ADA accessible ramps at the intersection of South Airport Road and then to create a walking path up the hill and end around Ridgeview Wood, sorry. And at that point, that's kind of the extent of the sidewalks as well. I believe in some of the earlier cost estimates, because of the requirement to lower the hill, there is proposed retaining walls which may be rolled into that additional outstanding infrastructure needed beyond the paved surface. So I just wanted to kind of just clarify what the scope of the project was.
Any questions of him before we go to a vote? Any members of the public wish to speak on this matter? Okay. All right, we have a motion on the floor to adopt the resolution with the amendment that we cap the dollar amount, and it comes from the delinquent tax fund. Roll call vote, please.
Max Bauer,
Yes.
Lemkool,
Yep.
Lathrop,
Yes.
Wheelock,
No.
Thomas,
Yep.
Rennie,
Was that a yes?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Inman.
Yes. Okay, motion passes with one nay. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So that takes care of 2 and 3. So we move on to item 9B, Central Services and Finance, copy or bids, page 34. Dean, you want to attack that, or
I don't want to.
Dave?
Sarah has
Sarah?
done
I'm sorry.
most of the
Sarah?
work on this, so I think we should let her, and I'll help where necessary, but that
Okay.
probably won't be needed.
Okay. Sarah, you have the floor. Congratulations.
Thank you. Sarah Adams, County Administration Office. You have a recommendation in front of you to approve the purchase of Konica Minolta's from Northern Office Equipment. Does anybody have any questions on that recommendation?
Okay, we have the write-up on page 34. Thank you. Any comments? Commissioner Rennie?
Make a motion to approve, go forward with this purchase of Konica Minolta's from Northern Office Equipment.
Okay, motion on the floor by Commissioner Rennie. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Lemkool. Is there discussion? Commissioner Lemkool.
I'd just like to compliment Sarah on her perseverance in getting this job done. It was not a small job. And bringing all these copiers, light copiers throughout the whole building really makes a lot of sense. And thank you for the work that you've done.
Thank you.
All right. So all we need to do is vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes. Thanks,
Did you
Sarah.
need immediate effect on that?
No.
Okay.
I can wait till the board meeting.
All right. We
Thank you,
move on.
Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Item C is the administrator's report, which is on your desk.
What's the party like?
You can, if you'd like, you can review it now, questions, or you can just give questions at our next meeting.
Yeah.
Not at our next meeting, but the board meeting. So we will move on, without any comment on that report, to unfinished business, which is the Garfield Building Lease Pavilions. We have a lease, commercial lease agreement on your desk that's been reviewed by council. Dave, you want to tackle that at the beginning, or?
Yes, you have on your desk the revised copy. We made some changes to it. I want to bring your attention to the very latest changes that were made. Had to do with the treatment of asbestos in the building. There is some asbestos in the building. There are some tiles that are made out of asbestos. There's some covering on the heat ducts and so forth that when I had a conversation with Corey regarding the, he had looked at the same report that we have. There's a required report that we had to have years ago that documented all the asbestos in all of our buildings. And he indicated that his remodeling plans did not include tearing any of that up. For example, if there's asbestos tiles under the carpeting and they will pull up the carpeting, they're going to put new carpeting on top of it, so there's no need to remediate. They're going to spray covering on the heat ducts so they don't have to remove that. So apparently there will be no additional cost to that for us, at least in the short term. Ultimately, it's our responsibility to remove it as the owner of the building anyway. So we made that addition to this, I can't tell you exactly what spot it's at right off the top of my head, but
Well, it can either be removed or it can be encapsulated. Right?
Correct.
Encapsulation is basically what we're proposing to do here, I believe.
correct. And there was some discussion about the taxes, but neither the pavilions nor the county pays taxes, but there may be a time in the future where the lease is assigned to a nonprofit entity or some entity that is for-profit, in which case taxes would be
Will be discussed at that point.
point.
Okay.
So other than that, everything's the way it was in the packet.
Motion to approve the agreement.
All right, moved by Commissioner Lemkool, seconded by
Support.
Commissioner Wheelock. Corey, do you have any items to add to this, or before we go to vote? No? Anybody have any comments or questions on this, on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
We don't need an immediate approval, do we?
Do you need
No.
immediate effect, Corey?
Well, there's a note on here that says time is of the essence, so
Yeah.
if we're going to do a roll call vote, it doesn't matter.
Do you need
The end of the
immediate
month.
approval?
It's up to you. Okay.
Do you want it done before your board meeting?
All right.
All right.
Lemkool,
Yep.
Lathrop,
Yeah.
Wheelock,
Yes, ma'am.
Thomas.
Yep.
Rennie,
Yes.
Max Bauer.
Yes.
Inman.
Yes, motion passed. All right, good. You're all set.
Thank you.
Moving on to new business, we have two items. First one is the ad hoc committee for the veteran spot we have open due to Mr. Tompkins being deceased. He was a great member, be really missed. And so we need to fill that position, so we need 3 volunteers, I say. I know I can't serve on, I serve on the Veterans Board, but I'll be kind of laid up for a little bit. So Commissioner Max Bauer, you volunteering? Who else?
I can.
Commissioner Lemkool, and we have another volunteer.
We volunteering for what?
An ad hoc.
Ad hoc committee to
Come on.
interview
I'll do
for
it.
veterans. Commissioner Lathrop?
Yeah.
All right, and who wishes to be the chair of the committee? Commissioner Max Bauer?
I can.
Commissioner Lemkool? Okay.
There we go.
All right, good.
So, Chris will probably send out a poll unless we have a date that works for all of us right now. But you have to check with all the other people that are going to be interviewed. So we'll just, when Chris comes back, we'll just have her take care of that. And
Sounds fine.
Send out a poll on that.
All righty.
All right,
We have a list of people already that want
3,
it.
yes.
Yes, we have 3 candidates. Yeah.
Good.
He
So we
wasn't
need-
in Korea, I don't believe.
We
is there?
we need a motion on the floor to authorize an ad hoc committee of Commissioner Lathrop, Commissioner Max Bauer, and Commissioner Lemkool. Moved by Rennie, seconded by Max Bauer. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, passes. Very good, you got that taken care of. Second item is the formality of things, you know.
Yeah.
Second item is the Great Lakes Fishery Trust Agreement. Dave, you want to go over that?
Sure. This was going to come next week, but I understand we may or may not be having a Ways and Means Committee meeting, so
Yeah, we're going to bring that up under notices.
brought it up here. There's a 3-way agreement attached here that is between the Great Lakes Fisheries Trust, the Conservation Resource Alliance, who is our project manager on the dams project, and they would be the grant recipient, and we are the landowner. And part of the requirement is that when they put this agreement together, they need the landowner to say basically it's okay. So it will provide $400,000 in funding for the river restoration and dam removal. And all we need to do is say that that we approve of the agreement and authorize someone to sign on behalf of the landowner.
The Civil Council did approve this, or review this, and found it acceptable. So it says immediate approval requested. So do we have a motion on the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the acceptance of the Great Lake Fisheries Trust Grant, which provides the amount of funding of $400,000 toward the removal and reconstruction of the Boardman River.
Support.
For immediate approval, please, because the agreement must be executed by August 22nd.
Second, agree with that?
Yes.
Discussion. Commissioner Lathrop.
It says here, because the agreement seeks commitment for long-term operation and maintenance, and I'm saying commitment from who and for how much?
It's from the grant recipient, actually. It's the CRA is making the commitment. We are just, this action today by the board is to acknowledge that this agreement exists,
So we're not
because
making
we're the
it-
landowner. I
We're
mean,
not
we-
making a commitment to long-term operate and maintain this, are we?
No, no, if you look at the agreement, and you look at the duties that are set out, most of what's required is required of the grant recipient. We're required to enter into this because we own the property.
You're still not answering my question.
I'll try my best.
We're always going to be responsible for some maintenance of the property. We own it.
Okay.
And we could be contracting with the Conservation District on that, and the Conservation Resource Alliance is the one that's responsible for all the reports. So they're the ones, this is a third and a third and a third, so it goes in stages. When they get a certain thing done, then they give the money. When the next thing's done, then the money's given, then the next thing's done, then the money is given.
Well, I just wonder sometimes when you get these grants.
Right.
And they have strings attached, it ends up costing us a lot of money. I don't mind spending, but I want to know about it.
Right.
So is that happening here?
We're going to get other grants, hopefully, along the line that's going to probably have the same type of stuff in it.
Well, this is, we are on 11A of this agreement. It talks that the landowner, it says that the landowner shall solely be responsible for development, operation, and maintenance of the property, which means that when this work starts on restoring the river, that's what this money is intended to be used for. The landowner is responsible for it because it's the landowner's land. But the agreement is with the CRA. The CRA is actually the grant recipient and is charged with putting all this together. They're going to receive the funds and they're going to distribute the funds. We just have to do our job as landowner and make that happen. We're agreeing that that will happen. See, because the grant recipient is not the landowner, so they need the landowner's approval to do that on their land.
I get it, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to do this anyway, and this helps us so we don't have to come out of general fund dollars.
I'm not arguing that,
It's a
I just
huge
want to understand it.
Yeah, I
It's a
understand.
nice slice.
Well, good question. Okay, any other comments or questions on the motion? So this is immediate approval. Roll call vote, please.
Lathrop,
Yes.
Wheelock,
Yes, ma'am.
Thomas.
Yep.
Rennie,
Yeah.
Max Bauer.
Yes.
Lemkool,
Yep.
Inman.
Yes, passes. All right, that takes care of new business, so we move on to second public comment. Does any member of the public wish to speak at this time? Seeing no indication, we will close the second public comment. We will move on to commissioner committee reports. Open up the floor, and then we need, under notices, we got to talk whether we're going to have ways and means or not.
I'll do that.
So commissioner committee reports. Commissioner Lemko.
Conservation District is holding a work bee this Saturday at the Lone Pine Trail to redo some of the trails. So anybody that has Saturday morning from 9 till noon that would like to come out and help out, I'm sure they're looking for, shovels and strong bags to be able to go out and be able to move some of the fences and to be able to redo that. That's part of the handicap trail that goes all the way out to the point through the, out into the Boardman River. And so, very important. They've had some washing, rain wash, and so they're trying to resolve some of those issues. So come on out and go to work Saturday morning.
Okay. Anyone else? Commissioner Lathrop.
I was at the Peninsula Township meeting last night, and there must have been at least 100 people there, maybe more. And the issue was the DNR putting in a boat ramp on East Bay near the end of the peninsula. And the community thought they might be able to stop that. And it turns out the DNR has the power to just put it in, and they wrote a letter that basically said that they're going to buy the property and they're going to put it in. But they also said that they're going to work with the Peninsula Board to put in with a boat ramp of their choice. It could be a non-motorized boat ramp, like for canoes and things like that. So at least we can mitigate the impact of that ramp.
At Hessel Park on the peninsula.
Pardon?
It's Hessel Park on the peninsula.
Yeah.
Hessel?
Yeah, that's there.
Hessel.
There's actually two pieces of land. There's a
Hazrat.
Hazrat.
Beach, and then there's that little cove next to it. And it was surprising to find that it really wasn't up to the township it was up to the DNR. They will put it in, and, but they're saying we'll put, you know, how it's put in and what it's put in will be up to the township. So township's going to have some say in it, and they're trying to keep the quality of that beautiful spot.
Commissioner Rennie.
What's the problem up there? Why can't we put a boat launch up there?
Well, they can if they want.
I mean, what's the
the public
resistance? How's that?
Oh, I think it was the people that like the Mackinac Island quality of that spot, you know. I guess their choice was either a condominium or that, and they, you know, along with a motorized boat ramp, you get a bunch of cars and trailers and,
Do anyway.
you know. One of the things that, afterwards, the guy came up to me, he says, "You're from the county, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, you better tell the sheriff, once we put that boat ramp in there, we want some sheriff presence, because we don't." So I want to tell you about that. But not everyone was against a motorized ramp. There were several people got up and said, you know, this land is, that bay belongs to everybody, and we should have some access on there. So, I don't know, it just turned out whether the township really didn't have a choice. It was the DNR's choice.
Do you think it's a good idea yourself, or where are you at on it?
Well, I personally, I used to boat out there with a sailboat, and I did love the peacefulness of that spot. And if we're up to me, you're asking me personally, I'm not representing my constituents, but I like to see a non-motorized boat ramp there. I think that would be just fine. And I wouldn't like to see a motorized boat ramp, but that's just me.
Okay, Commissioner Maxbauer.
Well, I'm going to comment on what Dr. Lathrop just said briefly. If you examine your tax bill, you pay for a community police officer through your taxes in Peninsula
Does he have
Township.
a boat? He's got to be able to get out there.
And so they do. They do have a community police officer. I want to let everybody know that the Parks Board met this afternoon, and we began our budget discussions, and we have really decided that what we want in front of us are some real numbers, so that we can, if there's any wiggle room. I used this example. It was a bad example, so forgive me for this. But I said, you know, if we've got a new, for instance, water feature in the plan, in the budget, and maybe what we want instead of a water feature would be a new boat, because we're opening up access to Power Island, which is a county park. I said, we'd like to see the numbers and be able to suggest priorities and give a little bit more direction. So we've added around some ideas, but we want to see some numbers. And I also want to let everybody know that Grand Traverse County we have a contest again, the Walking Works. So what this is a contest sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield. And if you go to www.walkingworks.com and you sign up, Grand Traverse County Parks has an opportunity to win $5,000. We have won this in the past. And we would very much like everybody to log their walking, running, swimming, biking, whatever exercises they are doing, and hopefully Grand Traverse County will win $5,000. Thank you very much.
Anyone else have a report? Commissioner Lemko.
Friday is the Wellness Barbecue. So
Who, what, where, what? Who, what, where, what?
the Wellness Barbecue at
Yeah.
the Civic Center. So you guys have been, some people have signed up for being able to provide shifts. So if you haven't.
You know, somehow I missed that one.
Just reminding you.
It's in my email.
So.
I'll be on my way to jail school.
Yeah. But, you know, so those that, you know, we got a couple of people that are going to be gone. So, you know, those of us that are going to be here, if we can help fill in whenever we could, that would be beneficial.
For those that can attend, if you can get with, Chris tomorrow morning, first thing tomorrow morning?
Yeah, let them know tomorrow morning
All right, okay.
that you're available and what you can
Chris
do.
Kramer.
Chris Kramer's on
No,
vacation.
Chris is,
Chris is on
Talk
vacation.
to,
Jen Siemens
Jen,
handling
yeah.
it.
Jean, okay, Jen.
yep,
Okay,
Or anybody in HR.
yep. Starts at
All right.
11?
yeah.
11 or 11:30.
I think it's 11:30.
All right. All right, anyone else have a notice or announcement? Commissioner Wheelock?
Well, Chris and I have talked multiple times over the last 4 or 5 days, looking at the agenda for Ways and Means, the fact that David and Dan and Chris will be out of town for the NIC school. So it is my recommendation that we cancel Ways and Means next week. The only thing that was crucial that we get done was this Boardman Rivers agreement, and we got that taken care of in tonight's meeting. So unless someone has a real problem with that, my recommendation to her was that we would cancel Ways and Means next week.
Everyone fine with that?
Yeah.
Let it be said, so let it be
So
done.
notice to the public and to the commissioners that we will not meet next week with Ways and Means
So
Committee.
Dave, can you put out a
Anything
notice?
that's left will be carried to the Board of Commissioners
All right.
the following week.
So Dave, can you put out a notice that that meeting's canceled?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Anyone else on a committee report? Notices and announcements. Anybody have anything on that? Hearing none, we need a motion, or do we have a closed
Well-
session?
No, sir.
Thank you.
I
All
just
right.
want to wish you
Yes.
well on your surgery.
Thank
I
you
will
so much.
not get I will not get a chance to see you probably because I'm leaving for Denver tomorrow.
All right, thank you, I appreciate that.
And you guys have a good trip.
We will.
Yeah, have a good
Bring
trip.
back lots of good information.
I intend to. Let me tell you, I'm going to study. I'm going to do my homework and do my
I know
job.
you will.
I
David,
got
I'm
a
gonna leave it
note
up
from
to
the
you whether or
NIC.
not to bring them back.
Oh, wishful thinking, Wheelock.
I got a note from the NIC. It said, go to jail, go directly to jail.
Jail.
Do not collect
Do not
$200.
Do not pass go, do not collect $200.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
Moved by Max Flowers, seconded by Lathrop, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned, thank you.
Good deal. Got some big things done today.